The Gemara in Megillah on Daf Zayin and Aleph relates what, at face value, seems to be a pretty strange story. The Gemara tells how Rav and Reb Zera used to do their Purim Suda together on Purim, and one year, Kam Rava v'shachted Reb Zera. Rava got up and shachted Reb Zera, killing him. The Gemara goes on to say that afterwards he was mispalel and he brought him back to life. But obviously, it's quite difficult to understand this Gemara Kipshuto that the great Amora Rava was actually so drunk and that he was capable of committing murder and killing Reb Zera. So many different explanations have been suggested in order to explain what's going on in this Gemara. I wanted to share the explanation given by Rav Hutner in Pachad Yitzchak on Purim. Rav Hutner suggests that we understand this Gemara as a metaphor, that what the Gemara is really describing is the transformational experience that Reb Zera underwent during the Purim Suda. Chazal tell us that at Maimon Har Sinai, Parcha Nishmasan Shel Klal Yisrael B'chol Dibor V'Dibor, that after hearing each Dibor Mipi Agvura, after hearing each one of the commandments that was said by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the nefashos of Klal Yisrael left their bodies and they needed to receive them once again afterwards. Explains Rav Hutner that what Chazal are trying to tell us with this idea is that Kabbalas HaTorah, receiving the Torah, internalizing the Torah, requires a person to undergo a transformational experience, a receiving a new nefesh, so to speak. Because in order for a person to not just listen and hear the words of the Torah and to internalize them, a person needs to undergo a transformation of their character, to change their lifestyle, to change their outlook on life and their value system. All these things, these fundamental parts of a person's identity have to change in order for a person to be able to be makabel the Torah, because that's exactly what the Torah is supposed to do to a person. We know that on Purim, Chazal tell us that Hadar Kiblua Me'ava, that the original Kabbalas HaTorah, Kaf Aleim Har Kegigis, was done by coercion, so to speak. And then B'Yimei Achashveros, there was a new Kabbalas HaTorah in which Klal Yisrael were makabel the Torah Me'ratzon Me'ava, willingly. And when we celebrate Purim nowadays, we too are supposed to, following in the footsteps of what they did in the times of Mordechai and Esther, we too are supposed to be rededicating ourselves by doing a new Kabbalas HaTorah, rededicating ourselves to the Torah. And in order to do that, we must also go through a transformational experience. We must commit ourselves to internalizing the Torah, to allowing the Torah to not just learn the Torah, but also to allow it to change who we are, to change the way we think, to change the way we act, to inform us of our values and of the way we should be, our perspective on life. And that, says Rav Hutner, is the message of Kam Rava v'shachted Reb Zera. Reb Zera was died on Purim as an expression of this idea that he received a new nefesh through rededicating himself to Kabbalas HaTorah, to the Torah, and internalizing the Torah. It was so to speak as if he received a new nefesh from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wishing you all a Freilichen Purim.